Have you ever wondered which places on Earth you should really just steer clear of? There are some locations out there that are not just haunted, but downright dangerous. These places are not just creepy, they're deadly. In this video, we're going to dive into the scariest places on Earth that you should avoid at all costs. From haunted asylums to cursed forests, we'll explore the most terrifying destinations that'll make you want to stay far, far away. When it comes to exploring the unknown, it's easy to get caught up in the thrill of the adventure. But the truth is, some places are just not worth the risk. The paranormal activity can be overwhelming, and the physical dangers can be deadly. We're talking about places where people have gone missing, where strange creatures roam free, and where the very air seems to vibrate with an otherworldly energy. These locations are not for the faint of heart, and they're definitely not for those who value their safety above all else. One of the biggest risks associated with visiting these places is the sheer unpredictability of what can happen. You might think you're prepared, but the truth is, you can never truly be ready for what's lurking in the shadows. From unexplained noises to full-blown possessions, the possibilities are endless, and they're all terrifying. And it's not just the paranormal activity that's the problem, it's the physical dangers that come with exploring these locations. We're talking about crumbling buildings, toxic environments, and treacherous terrain that can swallow you whole. The combination of these risks is what makes these places so deadly. It's not just one thing, it's everything. The fear, the uncertainty, the sheer sense of dread that permeates every inch of these locations. It's enough to drive even the bravest of souls mad. And yet, people still flock to these places, drawn in by the thrill of the unknown, the promise of a good story, or the hope of capturing something truly terrifying on camera. But let me tell you, it's just not worth it. So, where are these places that are so deadly, so terrifying, that they should be avoided at all costs? Well, let's start with the Stanley Hotel in Colorado, famous for its haunted rooms and corridors. Or how about the Aokigahara Forest in Japan, where people go to commit suicide and the trees seem to whisper strange whispers to those who dare to enter? And then there's the LaLaurie House in New Orleans, where the torture and abuse of slaves still lingers in the air. The LaLaurie House is particularly terrifying because of its gruesome history. Madame Delphine LaLaurie was a wealthy socialite who tortured and abused her slaves in ways that are too horrific to describe. When the authorities finally raided her house, they found slaves chained in the attic, mutilated and burned beyond recognition. The house has been haunted ever since, with people reporting all manner of paranormal activity, from ghostly apparitions to unexplained noises and movements. But it's not just the houses that are haunted, it's the forests, the asylums, the cemeteries, and even the roads themselves. There are places where the veil between the living and the dead is so thin that it's easy to get caught in the crossfire. And once you're in, there's no getting out. Take, for example, the Dyatlov Pass in Russia, where 9 hikers died under mysterious circumstances in 1959. Their bodies were found with strange injuries, and the incident remains unexplained to this day. I want to share a particularly terrifying story that happened in one of these places. It's a story that will leave you on the edge of your seats, wondering what really happened and whether the people involved were just lucky to escape with their lives. It's a story about a group of friends who decided to explore the abandoned Danvers State Hospital in Massachusetts. They went in armed with cameras and equipment, ready to capture some evidence of the paranormal. But what they got was something entirely different. As they explored the hospital, they started to experience strange occurrences, doors slamming shut, whispers in the darkness, and an overwhelming sense of fear that permeated every inch of their being. But the most terrifying moment came when they stumbled upon a room that seemed to be frozen in time. The furniture was old and dusty, the walls were cracked and crumbling, and there was an eerie feeling that they were being watched. It was as if they had stumbled into a time capsule, a portal to a different dimension where the laws of physics no longer applied. The group knew they had to get out of there, fast. But as they turned to leave, they realized that the door was no longer there. It had vanished, leaving them trapped in a room that seemed to be shrinking by the minute. They panicked, screaming and crying as they desperately tried to find a way out. And then, just as suddenly as it had started, everything stopped. The door reappeared, and they stumbled out of the room, gasping for air. In the end, It's not just about the places themselves, it's about the risks we take when we venture into the unknown. It's about the unpredictability of the paranormal, the uncertainty of what's lurking in the shadows, and the very real danger of physical harm. These places are not just scary, they're deadly. So, the next time you're tempted to explore that abandoned asylum or haunted forest, remember, some places are best left unexplored. Don't risk your life for a thrill or a good story. Just stay away, and let the darkness remain in the shadows where it belongs. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you've had any experiences with scary places, let us know in the comments below. And if you want to explore more paranormal topics, be sure to check out our other videos on haunted houses, ghostly encounters, and more.